Hi guys, how are you doing today? Hope you are having a sunny and drama-free day. Ready for some new stories I've prepared for you today? Let's go to the first one, about OP's cheating husband and her daughter, who blames OP for breaking the family, funny enough. Listen to the story, guys, to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I was blindsided by my husband for years. I never knew that he cheated until the affair partner and his 8-year-old son showed up at our house during my mother-in-law's birthday. It was quite a mess at that time, since it was kind of a family gathering and both our families were there. The affair partner said that since my husband is the father of the child, he has to raise him as well. Financial support is not enough. He should be a father figure of the child. My mother-in-law agreed and said she wanted to raise the child in our home. I was so angry that I decided to divorce my husband and said it in front of everyone. My family agreed with my decision and were supportive of me, while my husband's family disagreed. My 15-year-old daughter disagreed as well. She asked me and my family to forgive her father so that our family would not be broken. My husband also cried so hard at that time and asked for my forgiveness, but I was not buying it. He knew from the start that cheating is one of the deal breakers of our marriage, since we discussed it beforehand. What hurts the most is the betrayal of my daughter. At first, she kept asking me to forgive her father. She said her father promised not to do it again. She kept persisting me so that I would listen to and give up the idea of divorce, and not to break the family apart and continue living with her father as if everything was fine. She also said that her half-brother was innocent in all this, so it was fine to live with us. You can't imagine how devastated I was as I listened to her BS. When I asked her if she and the mother-in-law knew about the affair, she stuttered and changed the subject. From then on, I knew that they all knew. I told her that all of them were the ones that broke the family apart by their betrayal, not me. Fast forward, divorce was successful, and since the house was mine before marriage, then my husband and mother-in-law moved out. Now, my daughter and mother-in-law hated me and blamed me for breaking the family apart and being a hard-hearted bee, according to them. My daughter also moved out with them. The last I heard, the mistress and her son were living with all of them. I no longer have a daughter and a husband. I'm my own company. Anyway, I still have my parents and my brothers who stand by my side. They are my strongest support system. What is a daughter? I still have my nephews and nieces I can dote on instead. I can't say I'm okay at this moment, but I wish someday I will be. I wish things will be better in the near future. Additional info. My ex-mother-in-law has been my daughter's caregiver since my daughter was 6 months old, so there might be something about it that I don't know. I also thought that my ex-husband's entire family seemed to know as well, but it doesn't matter now. Is it? The devastation they caused me was really hard for me to overcome. Edit. I still love my daughter. I just don't like her right now. When my anger is gone, I might talk to her. Not yet at this time. When is the right time? I don't know. At this stage, if I talk to my daughter, it will become a yelling match, so I'm trying to avoid it. I love her. I just don't like her. When OP's daughter meets someone like her father, she will definitely understand all the pain OP went through. I wonder if she is happy playing house with her stepmom. OP's ex was the one who broke the family apart, not OP, and his family stood by him. I'm glad OP decided to leave. Also, I bet the ex-mother-in-law watched both OP's daughter and a Fairchild at the same time, so they got to know each other. I bet this woman has been around OP's daughter. Don't you think so, guys? And now let's hear if the community agrees with me. Eating Pizza Way says, "It sounds like your daughter had the whole thing about the affair partner and her brother normalized for her by your mother-in-law and ex over time, before you even knew. And now she can't grasp why it isn't normal at all in reality. I think she was sold on the idea that this is more or less okay, and now you're the villain for reminding everyone that it's not okay. This is super hard, and I wish you the very best as you navigate this." Asian Knight 143 says, "This is so ducked up. Now the mistress and your ex are one big happy family. Jeez. The mistress must have been jumping overjoyed for ruining your marriage. I cannot. Hoping for the best for you. You will find someone. Take advantage of this moment to enjoy yourself. You might be hurt, but on the bright side, you have time for yourself." Suspicious Weekend 284 says, "They never told you because they were using you for the house. Good on you for standing up for your beliefs." So, I, 40 male, am a widower. My wife Jane passed away last year after a long battle with terminal illness. We'd been together since we were teenagers and married for 16 years at the time of her death. So it's obviously been a massive and difficult adjustment for me, and I'm really just now starting to get properly accustomed to my new normal. Jane was unique and brilliant in more ways than I could ever possibly say, but relevant here is that she was deeply passionate about vintage fashion. In particular, she had a huge fancy for vintage designer dresses and garnered quite the collection in her time. I don't really know much about fashion myself, but there are some very pretty pieces in her collection, and I know that some of them are worth quite a lot of money. She was also very much of the opinion that fashion is art, and that art is meant to be seen and enjoyed, not hidden away to gather dust in the dark somewhere. Because of that belief, she made it very clear while she was sick that she didn't want any of her dresses to just sit and rot in our wardrobe after she was gone, and that she wanted me to pass them on to somebody who would be able to enjoy them as she had. My sister Anna, 47 female, has 2 children, Luke, 23 male, and Rachel, 19 female. To put it bluntly, Luke is a ducking spoiled brat, even as an adult. He does not work, through choice mind you, not a lack of ability, but believes that he is above claiming benefits. So Anna and her husband continue to bankroll him for everything. He still lives at their house without contributing financially or to any of the housework. They provide all of his food and pay for his car and mobile phone, as well as funding his weekly nights out clubbing with his friends. He left school at 16 and has shown no desire or motivation to further his education, pick up a trade, or learn any kind of hobby that isn't playing on the PlayStation. Any suggestion that he does try and get out and do something with his life results in tantrums from him and further coddling from his parents. This kind of lifestyle has seemingly never even been an option for Rachel, however. She has always been very independent and has had part-time weekend jobs since she was 14 years old. She's been sensible with her money, too. As she always said, she knew she'd need savings for when she grew up and moved out. Jane and I actually paid for Rachel's driving lessons and helped her buy her first car, as Anna and her husband claimed they couldn't afford to do it either. So, the issue at hand. Rachel left school in the summer and started university this September. When she left school, she had a prom, leavers ball, and remembered what my Jane had said about wanting her dresses to be passed on to someone who would enjoy them. I told Rachel that if she wanted to, she could pick out one of these dresses to be her outfit for the prom. She took me up on the offer, and I told her that afterwards the dress was hers to keep and do whatever she wanted with, as I believe that's what Jane would have wanted. So Rachel wears and keeps the dress. Everything is fine. She moved off to university in September, and mid-November she had a bit of an issue with financing and loans and stuff. As she's unsure when the problem will be resolved, she decided to sell the dress I gave her to tide her over. She went to a vintage fashion collector with it, and ended up being worth much more than we had both assumed, and she got just under £2,000 for it. She offered to split the money with me, but I insisted she keep it all to keep her right, and that she should consider it a gift from her Auntie Jane. Evidently, Anna caught wind of this and called me telling me that she and Luke would be over the next weekend so he could collect his inheritance too. I asked what she was talking about, and she said that I had given Rachel inheritance from Jane's passing, and that Luke wanted to get what he was also entitled to. I pointed out that I didn't give Rachel any money. I just gave her an outfit, which she then sold. And Anna said, "Exactly, so you should give Luke one to sell as well, so that it's fair." I told her in no uncertain terms that I would not be doing that, and that Luke isn't entitled to anything. I may also have pointed out that, from Rachel's side of things, their entire upbringing was unfair, and that Luke has routinely been given things that Rachel hasn't, so he can just deal with it being the other way around for once. Anna's been furious with me ever since, and is determined to make this as big a thing as possible. She's been telling anybody she can that I am withholding Luke's inheritance because I don't like him, and that I am blatantly playing favorites. It's usually fine after I explain what actually happened to people, but Anna is really trying to turn this into a massive smear campaign against me. It's starting to get a bit stressful, though I know the best course of action is to let it all just fizzle out. I suppose I just wanted to vent at strangers a bit about the whole thing, so thank you very much for letting me do that. Wow, the sense of entitlement from your sister is next level. OP's sister and nephew need to seriously learn that nobody is entitled to anything when it comes to inheritance. They should be grateful that OP was kind enough to gift the dress to his niece, and that he was gracious enough to be comfortable with her selling it when she was in a bind. Also, OP's sister is confusing inheritance with gift. OP inherited his wife's fashion collection, and nobody else. And now let's hear the community's opinion. NM42 says, "It sounds like Anna really cares about what other people think. She has launched a smear campaign, most likely, because to her, that is the worst thing she can do. Personally, I'd send Anna a text. I'm going to give you an option. Either stop trash-talking me and blowing this thing up, or I will take to social media and tell my side of things. Now, I really want you to think here. Aside from how bad it looks that you are going after a man grieving his wife, if I have noticed your unfair favoritism of your son over your daughter, do you really think other people haven't? Let me make it clear. Whoever I decide to give my deceased wife's belongings to will be my choice and mine alone. I did something very nice for your daughter. You should try it sometime. Your son could use some tough love. Maybe he'll actually grow up and get out of your house. Shibby89 says, make sure you have security cameras, etc., because they sound like the type of people that would break in to steal the dresses, which is unfortunate. But when it comes to money, people turn into absolute a-holes. I'd start getting those dresses valued, insured, and possibly even finding somewhere to store them securely. There are museums that would take them and put them on display also. Please don't think that because you're family, they won't go around you for a quick buck. They will. Make sure your wife's treasured items are protected. We went to a resort for the holidays. So me, 35 female, my significant other, 39 male, his sister, 43 female, his mother, 68 female, and his sister's son, 5 male. I wasn't so hot on the idea of going to a resort with my in-law family, but we came to an agreement to be there as 2 different groups and only do some activities together, so both groups wouldn't have to skip on things they wanted to do on behalf of the other. One of the resort activities was horse riding. You have to be a group of at least 4 persons, or you can join a group of random people. At the stable, we were informed that my sister-in-law and mother-in-law would not be allowed to ride horses due to their weight. While they are aware they're both above an ideal weight, they do entertain a certain level of delusion towards their actual size. They threw a huge fit, which, in my honest opinion, was handled very well by the manager. Meanwhile, I was booking my ride along with my significant other's ride. Hearing his mother and sister yelling, he went to investigate. He came back to tell me that we're going back to the hotel as his mother and sister were furious of being called fat. I had just paid for our ride and was about to go pick my horse. The employee told me she could refund us both, or just his ride. I really wanted to go on a horseback ride, so I told my significant other I was going. 2 groups were getting ready, so a stable hand inquired on my behalf if any group wanted to take a lone rider. I ended up with 2 unrelated couples. The ride was awesome. Our guide was very funny and entertaining. The 2 couples were lovely, and we had a really nice time together that made the whole time pass in the blink of an eye. I came back to the resort to my significant other sulking in our room. His mother and sister tore him a new hole because I went on the ride instead of standing in solidarity with them, and he was taking it out on me. We had a huge argument about how we agreed to not do everything together. He claimed I hated his family and ruined our family vacation. The next morning he apologized for his reaction, but still maintained that it was really crappy of me to go on the ride on my own, seeing how they insulted his mother and sister. But from what I overheard from my side of the barn, the manager handled it very diplomatically and in a very non-judgmental way. He explained it was out of concerns to the welfare of the animals and suggested other activities held at the stables they could do, even gave them free voucher for them. Pony riding lessons for nephew, petting zoo, carriage ride. I did apologize for the argument we had, but I didn't apologize for going on the ride. It's no fault of mine, and I don't see why I shouldn't do something just because my sister-in-law and mother-in-law cannot do it. We've been back over a week now, and my significant other is still butthurt about it. My sister-in-law and mother-in-law haven't talked to me since, and when they call my significant other, he goes in another room so I don't overhear him. I don't think OP did anything wrong here. Putting a large person on a horse can injure it. They aren't being called fat, they're just too heavy for the horses. Just because they couldn't go doesn't mean OP should have chucked her ride. OP's significant other should have joined as well. Just because they were on vacation together doesn't mean they were chained at the hip. I'll decide tomorrow says, not the a-hole. A horse can only carry what a horse can carry. Putting someone over the weight limit on a horse is dangerous for the horse and the person. They didn't insult their weight. It's about safety. If a roller coaster has a weight limit, would they say they're being shamed? Fish and Chips says, there is no universe that you're an a-hole for this situation. When this comment section collects some steam and all the not the a-hole judgments come in, I suggest showing them all to your dumb husband in hopes he pulls his head out of his mother's butt. He owes you more than an apology. They all do, in fact, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Not the a-hole. Whole Ad says, absolutely not the a-hole. The fact they couldn't participate due to their weight is frankly none of your concern. You are allowed to do and enjoy things that you can do. The solidarity thing is BS. There were probably listed rules and policies, and the management was the one to deal with it. They didn't insult his family if it was unsafe for them to ride. Edit. Showed my significant other this thread last evening. He admitted he overreacted. He was already stressed out at the resort. While he loves his family and was missing them, he's the first to admit going on a 10-day trip with him was a bad idea. He knows how they are. They were quite demanding in our attention during the trip, and he was torn between just wanting some space, but also factoring he didn't see them in 3 years and did miss them. He said it was just overwhelming trying to deal with those conflicting emotions. Overall, he didn't care I went on the ride. At the stables, he just wanted out. He was just done with the whole trip. Their tantrum, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. We've been together 15 years. I know him, and that's not how he usually is. I can see in hindsight the tension he was under, but didn't realize at the moment just how fed up he was. As for mother-in-law and sister-in-law, before the virus, we usually saw them once or twice per year, only a couple days each time. Our relationship was always warm and cordial. We never stayed with them, nor they ever stayed with us. We always booked hotels as neither of our places has enough room to host the others. They live on the other side of the country. They're not a presence in our daily lives. Lesson learned. My in-laws are best enjoyed at small doses. My husband, 37, has been friends with this woman, Abigail, 24, for a little while. They both see the same trainer, so that's how they met. He invited her over to our house for dinner. She met our children. When I brought up concerns about how they seemed to be getting very close very fast, he insisted that they were just friends and that I had nothing to worry about. After that conversation, his relationship with her seemed to settle down into a no different than any other friendship he has, I thought. This morning he got a phone call and he took it outside. When he came back in, he was really shaken. He said he was going to the ER because Abigail had gotten into a car accident. I asked why she was calling him. He said something about how her sister was on vacation and she got into a fight with her friend. It was complete BS, but he was out the door. I tried texting and calling him, but he didn't answer. I couldn't leave the house because our youngest is sick. He comes back hours later and tells me he needs to talk. He looks terrible. He admits to me he slept with Abigail. He said it only happened once when he was drinking, and she got pregnant from it. He was going to tell me soon, he claimed. But now she got into a semi-serious car accident, and they don't know if the baby is going to survive. And he's a wreck about it. I want to slap him for cheating. I'm disgusted by him. I kicked him out. I don't care if he stays at the hospital, or with his brother, or in a ditch. I'm so mad at him for 1,000 reasons. Squeakbox says, he was going to tell me soon, he claimed. Yeah, and I'm about to fly to the moon. He was never going to tell you. If he had any respect for you, he would have told you immediately. Not 2 months later after he finds out he got her pregnant. You would think he would have used protection, but he obviously is short on brains. Good for you kicking him out. You deserve better. Lil Clicka says, what a POS. What the F? Bringing her over for dinner. What was that really all about? Rude, disrespectful, evil mother trucker. Tumblr says, seems like he's been having an affair. He knew she was pregnant and rushed to the ER in a panic because he was worried about her and the baby. I think it's lawyer time. You're right to kick him out. Just go meet with a lawyer ASAP. Assume he was about to leave you for her and proceed from there. Who knows what his plan really was, but from what you described, that seems most likely.